Hey, what's up guys? It's Marf and welcome back to another Gangstar New York video. And as is usually the case, I know I'm a bit late to this one, so I apologize about that. Of course, as most of you guys know, I was in Barcelona when this was announced, so I didn't really have a chance to get into this playtest until I landed back here in LA to load it up on my desktop. And I noticed immediately there was something very odd about this playtest, and that is of course the fact that the main mode, or actually I believe the only mode you can play, is something called Money Royale. So before I get into talking about that, of course I want to mention that if you haven't already seen my Porsche Asphalt Series 2023 behind the scenes vlog, I highly recommend you check it out. It was the latest video on my channel and I'll put a link to it in the description down below. It was an awesome experience and I hope you guys enjoy the content that I got out of it. And also, of course, be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join the Discord for some funny chats and memes. Okay, so let's talk about what the heck is going on with Gangstar New York, because a Battle Royale mode was the last thing I was expecting out of another playtest. But as I started thinking about it, it did sort of make sense. I mean, there is a big, massive hole right now in the free-to-play open world game, especially as we are all waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6, and at the same time, the hot new game type is, of course, Battle Royale and Extraction Royale games, Apex, Hunt Showdown, all of those things. You guys know all about them. So it did make sense for the developers to put in some sort of Battle Royale mode. Now, I do want to mention, I have no doubts that they are only adding this mode when Gangstar New York releases. I'm sure there is going to be the traditional open world game. Like I said, there's a huge gap right now in free-to-play open world GTA-like games, especially because, like I said, we are all waiting for GTA 6. So if they released this game without an open world mode, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. But like I said, it does make sense to develop some sort of Battle Royale mode because it is the latest, biggest thing in the games industry right now. And overall, I do have to say, I love the concept of this mode called Money Royale, where the goal is to do a bunch of different actions around the open world and get as much money as possible until the time runs out, and of course the player with the most money wins. Now, talking about the good things, like I said, as far as I'm aware, this is the full open world, so you spawn in at a random location and essentially your Battle Royale map is the entire Gangstar New York map, which definitely feels a lot more expansive and detailed compared to previous Gangstar games, which is of course expected considering the fact that they are developing this for PC and console first. So in terms of it being a Battle Royale map, it's honestly really good. There's a lot of verticality, there's a lot of detail, places to hide for cover, so it's a good mix of open spaces, close, tight-knit areas to get into gunfights, and of course verticality with the rocket boots and the zip lines. And of course, because it's the open world, you can just grab civilian cars and drive them wherever you want, which is something very unique, and I don't think any other Battle Royale has something similar. Of course, in games like PUBG Mobile, you can find cars here and there, but they are very rare and hard to find. Whereas in this game, obviously because it is based off of a GTA-like open world, you can just grab cars every 2 or 3 seconds and drive them wherever you want, which is very unique. And of course, this does confirm that this is the first Gangstar game with live multiplayer, and this is something that is absolutely massive because we have never, as far as I'm aware, ever had a Gangstar game where you and another player can be in the same world at the same time and actually interact with each other. So I'm hoping that for the actual open world game mode, we can now have live multiplayer because, like I said, that would be massive, but at least for Battle Royale, we have that, which is nice to see. And let's talk about the player interaction for a second, because obviously this is a Royale type game mode, so the goal is to be better than other players and finish first place. However, in this mode, you do respawn, and every time you respawn, you lose all your money. So the incentive to stay alive is to not lose your money. And in my humble opinion, having played some Battle Royale games and other competitive games in the past, I just don't feel like that provides enough intensity and incentivizes players to try their best to stay alive, because at the end of the day, you can just respawn. Yes, you'll lose all your money, but that doesn't mean that you're permanently out of the game if you die. And because you can just load up another Money Royale game as soon as the game ends, there isn't an incentive to try and get as much cash as possible and stay alive and try your hardest to do so. So in my opinion, it definitely feels like more of an arcade type battle royale, which is fine, but if the developers were trying to give you a sense of intensity and competitiveness, I simply don't think that really exists just because of the nature of the respawns, and the goal of the player is just money. It isn't necessarily to be the last one alive. And that fact by itself means that there isn't a lot of intensity. I know I've said that word a million times, but you don't get those soul-crushing moments where in a battle royale game you might be one of the last 2 players alive and you come second place, and you just feel this sense of rage, but also satisfaction knowing that you got all the way up to that point. Or if you come first place, that immense satisfaction and gratification knowing that you, out of 100 players, were the best player in the lobby. Because in this case, sure, you might get first place by getting as much money as possible, but maybe you respawn 2 or 3 times, or maybe you know that other players also respawn, so your kills didn't really matter that much, or maybe you did a bunch of objectives around the map to get as much money as possible, but never encountered anyone, so it feels like a single player game, and I've certainly experienced that. Now, the other thing I've also experienced, and I think this is just my subjective viewpoint of this game, or at least my experience at this point, is that a lot of the players don't seem to think that this is a battle royale, or they are just unaware that it is multiplayer at all. So most of the player kills you'll be seeing throughout this video, they just don't really respond to me, which is interesting. Now, I don't think that these are bots. As far as I'm aware, the bots are only the NPCs roaming around, so there aren't like bots in multiplayer like you would see in some other games like Call of Duty Mobile. So I don't believe they are bots. I believe they are real players, and they never shoot back, or at least sometimes they don't shoot back. So yeah, maybe everyone is just still figuring the game out, which is totally understandable, but maybe if I get to a point where I'm playing against players who are very confident and I feel like I might actually die if I engage with them, maybe that will raise the intensity. I just wanted to give that caveat out there, just because I know that, of course, the player skill makes a big difference, because obviously if I played Call of Duty Warzone and I knew I was going to smash everyone I played, it wouldn't be that intense because I knew I was going to win. So that is something I wanted to make you guys aware of. But overall, there is a lot here to like. I definitely enjoy the fact that at the beginning of the game, you can just call in your custom vehicle. That's really neat. The cars are everywhere, so it just wouldn't make sense to restrict the player on that. You can also buy guns at shops. I haven't actually done this yet, but I know that there are a bunch of different guns that you can buy. But the loot system around the game is very basic, so it's very easy to understand. And in my opinion, I sort of like this. There's not a lot of meta gaming. There isn't that much of a difference between the guns. Obviously, you have the different categories, but within those categories, I believe the main difference between the different tiers of gun is just like the ammo type, maybe the reload speed or something like that. But it means that it really comes down to player skill rather than the equipment, at least from what I've observed so far. So I hope the gameplay and my voiceover gave you a bit of an explanation on what's going on here. Again, I highly doubt that they are going to release Gangstar New York as only a battle royale game. It wouldn't make sense in my opinion to do so, and obviously from what we've seen in the past, they already have the open world game mode anyway. So I assume that with Gangstar New York's full release, we will get both the standard open world format that we know from Gangstar and the battle royale mode that we've now gotten with this playtest. And I'm really excited because hopefully that will incentivize more players to come into the franchise and fill that gap between GTA 6. Again, I think that's a really awesome opportunity for this game to be very, very successful. Now, I do want to address the whole mobile thing and PC, because obviously right now this is running on a PC. That is where the playtest is taking place, is on Steam. And by the way, it's free. You can go get it right now, and it is open. It's not closed. So you can just get the Steam link and download it and play it right now. But as far as I'm aware, at the beginning, they did announce that eventually it would come to mobile, but I don't think we've heard any news since then. Please correct me if I am wrong in the comment section down below, and I will be sure to update the description and or make a pinned comment about that. Of course, I'm not going to just believe any comment I would like. If you could post an article link or something like that. But as far as I'm aware, we have not gotten any news about the mobile release, if it is still happening. So as far as I'm aware, this is still going to be PC and console only. I hope you guys enjoyed this look at the Gangstar New York playtest. I'm very excited about this game, especially with the whole new Battle Royale mode. It definitely seems like Gameloft is putting a lot of resources into this game's development, which I'm very excited about because of course it's been, I believe, 5 years since the last Gangstar game, and of course New Orleans was very underwhelming for a lot of people, and this is looking like it'll be one of the best entries into the franchise. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys later.